This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Monday, December 30th, 2019, episode 259. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Of course, you can visit our website. It's infectionpodcast.com. Joining me, much older than he was the last time we spoke, Brian with an I, old man Aldridge. Happy birthday, Brian. Even a couple days late, but, you know, still a birthday. How old are you, Brian?
I am now 40 years old.
Wow.
Doesn't that sound really old? That sounds so old to me.
Guess how old I am, Brian?
Near 20s, barely 20-something.
22. How old?
22. I had to sit back and think when I was 22. I can remember points of being 22.
Do you remember having, I'm trying to think, like 22, did you have like smoke signals? Is that how you guys communicated when you were 22? Mm-hmm.
When I was 22, DSL, we had DSL. A few of us had DSL. Most people did not.
And you lived in the country, right?
Internet. Yes. Yeah, I lived in the country. So my parents' house, the thing is at my parents' house, we had slower internet. But at my dad's office, I had faster internet. So I would run things and do things remotely through there. We won't talk about the things that I did, but yeah, it was fun.
All above the board and
which
legal.
has all opened up into now I do a lot of hosting and all kinds of things. So I guess there was benefits out of all the illegal things I did. But
well, there you go. Hey, before we get started here, I want to thank our buddy Ferment who just hit us up with the 4-month resubscription. Ferment, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Brian, before you do your intro.
Thanks. Ferment says, how does it feel to be halfway to max level? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all downhill from here. If your life is like this, and then this is the point where it starts to go down. Thank you.
Now, Brian.
Yes.
You have a blog.
Yes.
What is that?
Are you going to...
What?
Biteoftech.com.
No, what did you think I was going to do?
I was going to say, are you going to point out how long it's been since I posted an article?
You know, I see that you've always talked about that. You've talked about this blog on this program for 5 years now. Mm-hmm. And I thought, if Infection Podcast doesn't work out, I need a blog. Because this is not going to last forever. So that's Brian, true. You've got.
I think we almost got it. We almost nailed a date last week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. What did we decide? Like the next time Christmas falls on a Tuesday.
So we got like 10 years. I think.
So, you know, you're doing your stuff with Bite of Tech. You know, you're keeping that very up to date and whatnot. I decided, Brian, it was time for me to start a blog. So let me introduce you to my new blog, dudeInIT.com, which is my new blog where I'm going to be writing little stories about being in IT. So I would like you to check that out at dudeInIT. Now, it doesn't look as pretty as your website, but I just got time.
It'll only take me like 10 years.
So dudeInIT.com to go along with Bite of Tech with an I.com. So we've got our exit strategy.
Yes.
WordPress blogs.
That's how we'll make our money in the future. We don't have to worry anymore.
All right. So after that, now you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Hi, Brian.
All right. Well,
how are you?
I'm doing great. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, my blog, as he said, biteoftech.com. Wow. And make sure you go check out our website, infectionpodcast.com. And if you look on there on the right-hand side, thank you. Yes, that's my website. It says join our server on Discord. And over there, if you want to submit news throughout the week, we have a news channel in there. Also, when we do our games of the week, we've been playing a lot of Ark. We'll probably talk about that a little bit. All those things are happening in there. You can go and hang out, and whatever game you happen to be playing, you can join a channel and see if anyone else wants to join you. We also have our Steam group if you want to get a notification of when the live show starts. For instance, we are now today, because tomorrow's a holiday, pretty much day before holiday. We're doing this on a Monday. So if you happen to be at your computer on Monday, and you are part of the Steam group, you would have gotten a notification. You can join us live. Below that, we have all the audio forms. So whatever app, maybe you're on an iPhone or Android, or personally, maybe you want to listen to it on a computer. There's plenty of ways to do that through there. And then the video forms, we have our Twitch, we have our Mixer, we have YouTube. and you can watch a video of our show through any of those, and pretty much live on those as well. And then show notes for all 259 up to this point episodes that we've done. We have show notes for all of those. So if you want to go see one of the videos, maybe that you're listening and you want to see one of the videos that we showed, you can go check those out. We have all the articles, everything's in there for all the episodes up to this point that we've done. So you're more than welcome. And I don't know why you want to go like 200 episodes ago and watch a show, but you could do that if you wanted to and see what was current at that time.
Yeah. Now, hey, thank you, Head Neophyte, for the resubscription. Our 5-year anniversary, Brian, is in, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming up. That'll be exciting.
It's the longest relationship you've had in your life.
Well, I can make some comments, but I won't. I'll refrain from making any comments. How was your Christmas, Brian? So last week's show, we said it was going to be short, and it ended up being like an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah. Oh well.
But so you and I actually haven't spoken in over a week. So how was your Christmas? Yes. And did you get any cool toys, gifts, games, things?
Well, okay. I got clothes pretty much.
Because now you're a business professional.
Yes, but there was except for we've talked about this. Like my business work at my business, they want me to be very casual. So
Brian's like, oh, I'm very casual. He looks like the Monopoly man coming into work. He goes, oh, I'm very casual.
The first day I come into work, my boss pulls me aside and says, you don't have to dress that nice. He's like, can you just, so I've been wearing jeans and whatever else.
Wow. So you're getting a regular person's wardrobe.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. That's exciting.
So I feel very, very dressed down. I'm wearing jeans. If I wear my khakis, I make sure I leave my shirt untucked just to, not push it a little bit too far.
Are you not wearing a collared shirt right now?
Well, this is more like a winter thing.
I'll tell you what, this may be the first episode of Infection Podcast that you've not been wearing a collared shirt.
No. This is the second.
What was the first?
I have one similar to this that I was wearing a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I snuck them in there. I was coming in under the radar. So.
Well, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt doing the program. So
it's a little cold here to do that.
Yeah, it's nice.
I don't live by a beach.
Well, I mean, not everybody can be great like I am. So yeah, so that's good. Did you get any? Now the Steam winter sale was ongoing. Did you buy any games?
Mm-hmm. I bought everything I bought was on PS4. Now I did buy one. I did buy one game on Steam.
Okay.
I would have to. I don't even remember what it was. Dayz.
Oh yes. Okay, so talk about this. So there was a tweet. So there's a this has been so long. So there was a tweet that went out.
I know.
And
yes,
a tweet. What happened, Brian?
So I went and noticed that Dayz. I noticed it actually on PS4 first. I was logged onto my PS4, looking through their store. I was like, Dayz is like below $29.99. I was like, I wonder if on PC if it's below $29.99 as well. And so I jumped onto Steam, and it was like 28 something, whatever it was. It was $28 and something cents, and so I purchased Dayz finally. On Christmas Day, I logged in and played for 0.3 hours. And
we should play that for game of the week.
We could do that.
Would you?
If you want to
would you rather do that or the other game that we had planned?
Well, the other one I think I need to play because I just said I would play it. So, but we could do Dayz as a group. That would be fine.
So, which one would you rather play? For game
let's do as a group. Let's do Dayz.
All right. So this Friday night, we're back, baby. 2020 is going to be the best year for Infection. You thought 2016 was cool. You thought 2017 was cool. You thought 2018 it was all right. 2019 was, pretty cool. We went out to a show. It was a good time. But 2020 is going to be the year of Infection Podcast.
Oh yes.
We'll never miss an episode, and
that's true.
We'll be keeping you up to date with news and whatnot. So coming up this Friday night, which will be January 3rd. We're going to be playing some Dayz on the PC. So hopefully you'll join us for that. Get that. Make sure you've got it installed. We're going to play the base. We're not playing Livonia because I don't think anybody has. I don't. Yeah, you don't.
I did purchase Livonia.
Okay. Well, I don't.
But because I wanted to mainly see it so I could talk about it. So thank you, Locklore, for the 11 months in a row. And he says 2020 hype.
There we go. Exactly.
Thank you
It's
very
going to be
much.
the best year for Infection podcast. Base DLC. That's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to say. We're just going to play the base game. We'll find a server. We'll jump in there and we'll try it as a group. So if you have Dayz and you're like myself and haven't played it since like 2016, 2017, hopefully you'll join us for Friday night. Brian will be there, which is a huge...
Now, can I give the one complaint that I found up to this point? Can I tell you my one complaint?
You played for
0.3 hours.
Okay, what is that? What 0.3 hours? So that you played for less than 25 minutes.
Yes, and there was something very basic that I could not figure out how to do.
Okay,
I couldn't figure out how to craft anything. I didn't.
No,
there was no indicator of crafting.
Off the
How
top,
do you craft?
in the inventory?
It wouldn't let me craft anything. I couldn't select any item. I couldn't do anything.
You may have been on a server that was no crafting. Possibly.
I was on one of their main servers. Yeah, possibly. But I was sitting there playing, and I was like, I can't figure out. I need to craft a bandage. I've got all this cloth. I can't figure out how to craft it all. I looked around their menus. I was like, this is just so weird. I'm bleeding out slowly.
Welcome to Dayz.
I can't figure out how to even craft a bandage, and I've got all these clothing and things I can rip up, and there was no way to do anything. I was like, there's got to be something I'm missing here. And so I just logged out. It's like, all right, I'm done for now. This is it. So I slowly bled out over 25 minutes because I couldn't find how to actually stop the bleeding. And it's not because someone killed me. It was a 25-minute slow bleed of me just knowing I was going to
slowly losing all the color.
Yeah. It was so annoying.
Welcome to Dayz. It's a great game. So we'll be playing that.
Neophyte says, "Eat the bandage." Maybe it works from the inside out. I should have tried.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe I can put it in my hands. You can hold something, and this just holding this giant piece of cloth and walking around with it. I'm like, this just doesn't make any sense.
Well,
so maybe we'll figure it out on Friday.
Well, maybe I know we've got a couple guys in our group. I think I don't want to speak out of tone, but I think maybe Donnie is maybe our Dayz expert.
I'm sure that he has some experience with it.
I feel like I've seen him playing it rather recently. So hopefully he'll join us. And if you are, I know we've got like our buddy Firebomb's been saying he wants to play some Dayz. So if you have Dayz, love to have you. It looks like our friend Musty played recently as well. So hopefully they'll join us, and hopefully you'll join us as well. We're going to be playing some Dayz standalone this Friday night for Game of the Week.
Very good.
I totally forgot about that. Wow.
Yes. Well, me too. And I was like, I know I bought a game, and I could.
Now, would you get on the PlayStation? Anything exciting?
So I got What was that one by the Fallout people? I heard Outer Worlds, Outer Worlds or something like that. Whatever that is, I got that.
How is that?
It is okay. So. Would it be considered a spoiler to talk about like one of the first plot things in it?
I mean, do you have to?
Or I want to say my experience, which is interesting, but I'm not sure how I should have approached it. Generally,
spoiler alert. Fast forward if you're not interested. Give us like 2 minutes.
Go forward like 2 minutes. So generally in Fallout, you can't really ruin the end game, right? You can't really do something that just totally makes everything go off of alignment.
Yeah.
Like generally everything kind of stays on track.
Oh no, did you kill somebody?
With this, you have a decision. You have a decision that you'd either you save one town or you save the other, equivalent. Kind of like that type of a thing. Well, I was like, all right, I want to take the kind of probably the less taken route, and I'm going to save the little place and not help the big place. It ends up to where it takes me back to that place, and then I end up having to kill everyone in the town to get out of it. And it's like it's all these major characters, and then like they're permanent dead. And so it's like, I'm like, how does this affect the story going forward? First of all, because all these quest givers, the main guy with the story, I ended up killing him, the mayor of the whole town, because to get out of there, I had to kill everybody. Like they were shooting at me, they were chasing me, and I couldn't get out of the town without killing them. And I was like, I don't think this is supposed to happen, but this is all like permanent choices that you're making. I'm like, how in the world does the game move forward from here?
I'm interested.
Am I just going to have, yeah. And so it really looks like it's going to be painful to play it through that way, but I'm really curious, like how far in the game can you actually go when you've got the main faction of the whole place hates you, and you've killed the main cities, almost every single person in it and every single quest giver that exists in there, you've killed them.
It sounds like it's going to be a quick achievement hunt. The campaign's going to be over in like 6 hours, probably.
I mean, I killed the main guy. I've got his key. Maybe it's like an instant, like it takes me to the end game because it's something that he would eventually given me this key. I killed him. Maybe I can go to his office and that's the end of the game.
How did you kill him?
I just shot him.
Wow.
The thing is, it's not like it's not like where there's like some huge skill gap between the beginning and the end.
What happened to the Brian I used to know and love that was never KDS, never aim down sights, never do anything to ruin out somebody else's game experience? What happened to that man I used to love?
I was helping. The people that I was helping were the innocent ones. These were bad people that you're kind of having to work with, and I was trying to be the good guy, and I ended up having to kill a whole town to remain the good guy.
That's what it should. You know what? This is a life lesson for the folks ladies and gentlemen of the Infection Podcast. Being the good guy is bullshit, and Brian has experienced that firsthand. Be the scumbag.
And I think Head Neophyte has figured it out. It's just like Morrowind. You can break the game in the first town by killing the wrong NPC. I killed the whole town. I mean, it's not the wrong NPC. There's like one random character, or like general people that run around that don't actually shoot at you. Those are the two people that are living in the whole town. I can walk through the place and loot the whole thing because there's not a single person alive.
It's pretty cool.
And I think I really messed up the whole story.
Sarah says, "Don't worry, Brian. The game is designed to accommodate stuff like that." So I'm interested to hear. Okay. I'm interested to hear.
I want to see what happens.
Okay, so spoilers aside, not really spoilers. How was the game itself? Did it feel like Fallout? Did it feel like kind of like a scummy knockoff Fallout?
There are definitely things you can see that they took as parallels, because my nephew, he is on my account as well. He's on the same PS4, so he's playing it under his, and there were certain things where he's like, oh, he said a certain character, like what you would call a certain type of character. He's like, oh no, but they called him this in this one. It's got certain things that are the same but different words. There's definitely improved storytelling in this one. As far as, you got to think of how old Fallout is.
Yeah,
realistically. So this one is more modern. It's done in Unreal. So but they have managed to kind of keep that feel. It very much feels like Fallout as far as the graphics, with less kind of odd visual things happening. The story is more interactive, I think, kind of like what I was saying. I feel like my decisions actually are going to affect something that I don't know that I can take back, where I never thought about that in Fallout, really. I mean, there were certain decisions you could make.
Yeah.
There were certain things you could do to where maybe you would have a house in a town or not, but I didn't feel like it was affecting everything outside of that town. Right?
I don't know. I experienced quite the opposite. Fallout had a lot of, in my opinion, had a lot of those kind of, I don't know, very harsh decisions, game-changing decisions.
Yeah, but the thing is, I felt like it was still kind of controlled. I didn't feel like I was breaking something or going outside of the realm of what it was meant to do. With this, I really felt like as I was doing it, I'm like, I really feel like I'm just breaking this game. I feel like this is just going to destroy everything going forward. I'm not going to be able to play this normally anymore. It's saved. It keeps your last 3 saves. So it's like, I overwrote. I'd have to start over to really undo this.
You shouldn't. You should run through with it and see if the game.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep going and just see if I hit a point where it's like, okay, well, there's no more quest givers. There's nothing. So
real quick, I want to give a shout out to our friend Bobby J, who hit us up with the 3-month resubscription. Thank you, Bobby J. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
What did you get the game for?
Well, Bobby J. So 3 months resub, but he's been subscribed for 8 months.
Oh,
so
awesome.
So he's on a 3-month streak. So he's done 8 months. So
thank you
very much, Bobby J.
Yes, we appreciate that. How much was it, and would you recommend buying it?
If you like Fallout and if you like RPGs, it's definitely an RPG.
Yeah, of course.
Because you go through and you really customize your character as far as you have these skills and these abilities, and you're leveling them up throughout the game. So you can make your character really strong and they'll be kind of dumb initially, or you can make them smart and then physically weaker. You can really customize your character, and then as you play, you will increase certain aspects. You can put points into various things and really kind of hone the character after that. But I think that I think that I think that if you like the kind of Fallout feel, or like Morrowind and that whole, just the way that the stories go and you're kind of moving around the map, I think they did a good job. I can't really speak to the story so much because I've only gone to like that first big kind of plot twist, and I don't know where it's going to take me from here. I feel like my character's guns and all that's fairly weak at this point. So I assume there's a lot of progression. Hopefully there's a lot more content, just like in Fallout. When you play Fallout 4, especially, I remember playing through Fallout 4 and it's just like, I love how much content there is here. How, it moves you around the map. You feel like it takes you a while to actually open up the map.
Yeah.
So I think that I'll keep trying to play it, as long as I can through this save. And then see kind of where it takes me. But I think it's good. It's well done. There's not any game breaking bugs, unless me killing the whole town is a bug. There's nothing that seems to be too crazy. So I would recommend it. I don't remember right now. I think through the next 2 or 3 days, PlayStation, PS4 is doing their sale.
Okay.
So if you want to go check that out, they've got that on there. I just went and picked up a number of games that the other one was what's that one where it's got the actor from The Walking Dead, and they have the babies. Remember the babies in the jar?
Yeah, you're talking about
I don't know why I can't remember it, but
you're talking about the game, the one that just came out.
It's just came out.
Called Death Stranding. Yes.
Death Stranding. Yes.
Thank
very
you,
good.
Sareth.
This is why
we didn't do a live show last week, and this was it. If you listen to last week's show, you were listening to Brian and I go, yeah.
What was the name of that show? I cannot remember the name of that game.
Yeah.
So Death Stranding. So I did get Death Stranding, which I only played through kind of the beginning parts of it so far. But visually, very good storytelling. From what I can tell, it's going to be a very good storytelling type of game, which is generally how games that are made for PS4 are. They're taking you through a somewhat scripted thing. But I think with this one, they've done a very good job of creating that sense of kind of anxiety as you play, where not a negative anxiety, but just it's hard in a game to create a kind of bad guy, a creature that you're fighting that really actually kind of puts chill up your spine, right? Because we've seen so many things in games. You've seen zombies, you've seen with Resident Evil, those type of creatures. Well, this one is a very different type of enemy than I think I've ever seen in a game before. Do you want me to just kind of, I don't know how many people actually know the basis of the game. Do you want me to just kind of explain a little bit of what the enemy is?
Your discretion.
All right. So some sort of an event happened, kind of like a zombie apocalypse type of a thing, right? And all of a sudden there were these creatures that only certain people have the ability to sense or see.
That's why that little thing on your back.
So what they'll do is they have these babies or whatever that they put in some sort of a jar for people that don't have that ability to sense, right? They will attach it to themselves, and then at least allows them to sense that one of these creatures is near, right? Well, these people that have that ability, that's why you saw the video when they were showing teasers for this, where like down his throat, there's some sort of baby in his stomach or something. I guess that's supposed to be the one built into him that's sensing this, right? And so it creates where you can see that remember those hand footprint, like their footprints, but their hands that you saw in the video. Yeah, it has that. And I think they just did a really good job of creating an uneasy feeling about a creature that is there. And I don't know how far they're going to take it, where they're going to go with the story. But so far, it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really interested to see how much progression in story they can really do. Or is it more of just the whole time you're just trying to not die to them? Or is there going to be a progression of your abilities? I don't know how much, because they didn't really give a lot of teasers and hints to what the character can actually do in the game up until the point of release. So, and I haven't really dug into it because I want to kind of be surprised as I play. So we'll see.
Excellent. I did find out, thanks to our friend Sareth in chat, let me know that Outer Worlds is on Xbox Game Pass.
Oh yeah,
which is great. Now, a lot of people like to bash me for using Bing But I will say, I've always, by the way, I've used Xbox Game Pass once, but I've never paid for it. Like, I always have an ongoing subscription due to using Bing Rewards. You know, Brian, you've done Tip of the Week for a long time, and I appreciate that. If you are somebody that's in the Microsoft and Skype ecosystem, you need to be using Bing as your default browser, just so that you can get free Skype international calling or free Xbox Live Gold and free Game Pass. It's a no-brainer. Game Pass is like $15 a month or something like that. I don't know.
So I was going to mention, okay, so pricing, you're asking me about pricing right now. Death Stranding is $40.19, but that is a brand new game.
Where on so Xbox? Like, on PlayStation?
On PS4.
It's $45 on Xbox, yeah. What's it on? It's on PC, isn't it? It's on Steam, I think. No?
Is it? I don't know. I thought they had it on Epic, perhaps.
I think you are right. I think it is on Epic, but I don't know if it's an exclusive.
But it is $59.99 now on Steam as well. In 2020, in the summer of 2020. So Epic has the until the summer, they have exclusive rights to it, I think, on PC.
And it's $45 on Epic as well.
On Epic? Mm-hmm. Okay. And they do have they're having a holiday sale where you get like a $10 coupon if you purchase something. So I guess it's equivalent of $10 off of that.
So maybe purchase something cheap and then get your 10. I mean, I guess it's 6.5 one, half dozen the other.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how they apply it, but Death Stranding. Now it says pre-purchase on there. So it's not releasing on Epic until summer 2020 as well.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
So it's on both. So it looks like they're releasing it at the same time.
Gotcha.
It just isn't going to be available on PC till the summer. So very odd. But anyways, if you want it on there, it's $40 at the moment. And then I was going to see Outer Worlds is currently $44.99. So it's $15 off, I think.
Yeah.
Or is it $5? Yeah, it's $15 off about. So there you go. But I figured those were ones that were newer, and I figure I'd get them because I know eventually I will play them.
Excellent. Well, I'm gonna give Outer Worlds a shot. I bought Doom, which is on sale. I played maybe a fourth of Doom on the PlayStation. I was borrowing it from a friend, and then I wasn't playing it anymore, so I gave it back. But then I purchased Doom on PC, and it was like $5. I also purchased another game, Brian, that I actually played. It's contrary to belief, I do sometimes play video games. I purchased Raft. I know we've talked.
We've talked about that before.
We've talked about Raft a little bit, and I know that at one point we were going to do like a game week or something with Raft, and we never got around to doing it. But I ended up purchasing Raft, and I played for maybe 2 hours, and it's a very cool game. I like it. I do think it suits itself more as a multiplayer game. I've been playing solo, and at the 2 hour mark, I'm not really sure what the next step is. Like, you're just kind of drifting through the ocean, and I'm not really sure what exactly I'm supposed to be doing. I'm sure I can figure it out. It's not like I hit a wall in the game, but at about the 2 hour, like the beginning of the game is super intense. Like you don't have anything. You're constantly trying to survive, and then like the 2 hour mark, like you're more than competent catching food and cooking it and getting water and purifying it. So that threat is kind of gone, and now I'm kind of like, well, what the hell do I do now? This random shark keeps coming by and eating your ship every couple minutes. Like, I'm not really sure what exactly I need to be doing next. So I see a couple of our friends are playing Raft, and apparently in the multiplayer mode, it is a lot more enjoyable than it is on single player. So I'll have to give that a try. But Raft, it is the epitome of a survival game. I mean, it's hardcore survival. It was, by the way, it was a top seller on Steam's 2019 award thing that they do. It's got very positive reviews overall and recent, with almost 27,000 reviews. 86% of them are positive.
It's only $13.99 right now.
Yeah,
I'll pick up a copy.
Yeah, that's why
together.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, that's why I bought it, because it was so cheap, and we've talked about it for a while. So Raft is Raft's a cool game. Quick background on it: you literally spawn on 4 planks in the ocean, and you have a little claw thing that you throw out into the water and pull things into your raft. That's about as far as I've gotten.
Right.
That's about,
I now have it purchased, so we can.
Yeah, that's about where it is. And I've talked to a bunch of people, and they do say that this is a multiplayer game. You can play it solo, but it's not for everybody, from what I've been told.
Another game I'm thinking of buying is that 2 Point Hospital. I know that Saul. I'll have to ask Saul, because I know Saul played that for a while. It reminds me. You probably don't remember Theme Hospital.
Not a clue.
No, there was a game that came out quite a while ago, and it was like Theme Hospital, and it was a lot of fun. And this is kind of a remake. I think it was Theme Hospital, something like that. And so I've been interested in playing this because it's just kind of one of those casual games. Saul Greatman says it's Theme Hospital with no improvements. All right, well maybe I won't get it then. So I knew that he would know, but he said, but casually fun. I did enjoy Theme Hospital, but I don't know. I was hoping that this would be just an amazing game. It says the best seller of 2019. It's top seller, so
doesn't mean it's a good game.
Yeah, it's $11.89 right now, but they have a bunch of DLCs, which kind of makes me nervous.
Oh yeah, but are you going to play it? Is the question.
No, I probably wouldn't play it. That's the thing. I have so many games that I'm not playing, but but I might play this someday. No.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I gave Haru the Ninja. He was talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance. I had that in my Steam or my Humble Bundle, and I gave it to my cousin over Thanksgiving. I was like, I'm not going to play this, and he was interested in playing it. So it's like I just know it's a cool game. It's a new game, but I'm just not going to play it. So I just gave it to him.
Good guy, Brian.
Yeah. Well, I just know they're just going to sit there. So
fact.
All right. Is there anything else? This is a lot of 45 minutes into the show.
We're only 30 minutes into the show. We started late.
Oh, we started 10 minutes late.
Yeah, don't give it away for our pre-recorded audience. All right. So yeah, I think that's a pretty. I mentioned in the pre-show, there's not a lot of update news. So this week's show is going to be more of a let's read some stories and whatnot. But before we get started, Brian, I do want to thank, and I forgot to thank him last week, and I felt really bad about it. I want to thank our friend PHVCK, who made the music for last week's show. He made it a couple of years ago, the Christmas Open and our graphic overlay. So thank you to PH for making those graphics, and he's made a bunch of our other graphics as well. So thank him for.
And also remember Ben, who did that intro video
yes.
that we show in the beginning.
And I also want to thank a couple of other people as well. People that hit us up with resubscriptions over the past couple of days. I know our friend TechZone707 hit us up with a resubscription. Our friend Unicorn Joe hit us up with one right before the show started. Our friend Johnny Fine hit us up with a resubscription, and our friend Falcon and Judd. So I believe that covers all of our subscriptions there through Twitch. We appreciate that, and everybody else that supports the program. Speaking of supporting the program, Brian, we say that you have to let us know when you see things. Right? You see a news, you see a story, you see a whatever, send us a note. Well, I've got to thank our friend Shocks, who he's got to have his ear to the ground on H1Z1 still, because he has sent me like 3 or 4 of these random H1Z1 projects over the past couple of years. And a new one is out, Brian. We've got a new H1Z1 equivalent. It's called Z1 Exceed, EXCEED. And apparently, based off of a screenshot from an email, this project and this developer has gotten the blessings from the senior general manager of Daybreak Games that as long as he emulates Just Survive and it does not make any money and does not do anything to make it profit, as long as it remains a non-profit venture, this is possible. A community remake of H1Z1 just survive apparently can and is looking to happen, and the URL for that is z1ex.com. And that's what it is. There's a bunch of pictures on here, which are, grabs from the game, all the assets that, what engine is that? That's Unreal that these assets are pulled into based off the toolbar menu that I can see. So they're just,
it would be.
They're working in Unreal and they're remaking H1Z1, and it's called Z1 Exceed. Now, Ryan, this is cool and all. I appreciate the sentiment, I guess it wouldn't be the word I'd use.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of things that I want to ask you about, and I'm not trying to poo-poo this project, and I've chatted a little bit with the developer privately on Discord, and hopefully we'll be chatting with him in more of a official way, like on the program or an interview or something like that in the coming weeks. His name is Silk. But does it make sense, and you might be able to shed a little light on this, does it make sense to rebuild the entire H1Z1 game without being able to make any money? Is that feasible? Is it realistic? And is it going to happen?
Well, one thing that you can do, the way that you can bypass the for-profit is to accept donations, to not require a payment to play it, to not require a payment to receive it. But if you want to accept donations, have a page where if you'd like to donate towards this project, that would, I think, still fall under legally under what the requirements were by Daybreak when, with that respond email. So I think I think if that's enough for him, things like this, a lot of times it's the use of it would be for your resume. For this guy, you can say, hey, I was a part of this project. We created this. I mean, that's a very good thing to make. But I think that here, the tough thing is going to be not necessarily the assets. You can create a world that looks like H1Z1, because in here, they mentioned that they're going to be creating new assets. So we will mainly use original updated assets or remake the original ones. So I don't know if they're going to, they'll try to make it look as much, but the part that's going to be hard is the gunplay, the character movement, all of that part is the programming of it. That's the hard part, not making a world that looks like H1Z1. The hard part is making a game that feels like H1Z1. And I think that will be the struggle of, can they recapture, because there was kind of an interesting feel to how H1Z1 moved, how the shooting worked. I think people really liked, and that's going to be the hard thing for them to kind of replicate and make. And you don't need to, you don't need to have the H1Z1 assets. You don't have to have any licensing to do that. So, if that was your biggest concern, you can make a world that looks like whatever, but felt like H1Z1, and you wouldn't need their permission to do that. Yeah.
So again, the website is z1ex.com. I don't want to spend a whole hell of a lot of time on it because it's so early on in its process. And we've seen this before. We've seen a handful of these projects that have popped up. I really do. And you mentioned the resume thing. That's cool. There is a, I guess you call it a roadmap, a kind of a development checklist on the website. It's under the development tab. I just don't know. I don't think a game like this can ever be finished if nobody's getting paid, because the amount of time that it's going to take to build an entire
and who's going to host the servers? Unless they release them to where people can host their own servers.
At some point, probably. Fine. And I'm not trying to sound like a jerk and say that I don't want the project to succeed. I just am looking at this from a realistic, and Brian, you probably have a lot more insight on this. How much time does it take to build an entire game, and how much time can you devote to it before you get paid?
Yeah.
How
and that's the thing, is how much time are you willing to put into this, where it takes a very long time before you have a playable concept that people are going to be like, oh yeah, here's a game.
Yeah, I mean,
like there's a lot of work
you
up
know,
to that point.
there's these pictures and whatnot of the city. There's no work that goes into that. Those exist in, I shouldn't say there's no work. That you had to pull them out of the game. But this image that you're looking at right here looks really cool. There's none of this does anything. You can't even interact with the objects, probably.
Well, I mean,
there's no
so
doors. So what are you? There's nothing to interact with. This is just the map.
These are assets that have just been imported and placed at the same location. So really, when you look at this,
it looks like, oh my god, that's H1Z1.
The easiest part. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
The easiest part. And that's the issue. This is the easiest part.
Yeah.
What they've done so far is the easiest part of you created a landscape that has the same formation as the original H1Z1 map. You've imported objects, you know, because they were able to export them out of something and import them into Unreal and then place them in the same place.
Forge Light to Unity, then, Unity to Unreal.
Yep. And then the tough part comes after this. When you start, I mean, the interaction of the doors is an easy part, right? But then when you get into picking the berries and managing the inventory and managing how the character moves, how all of that works, that is the time-consuming part.
I just don't know how you can build an entire full-feature game. And now, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. He's like, "Well, look at Miscreated." The problem you have with this game is since it's not an original idea, you can't do Miscreated. Or excuse me, not Miscreated, Unturned. He said, well, look at Unturned. Nelson Sexton built that entire game himself.
He makes money off of that with that one thing.
He makes money, but
salary.
He started the game off as a blank slate and built onto it. This game has got to come out with all of the features of H1Z1. Right, you can't.
It has to feel like H1Z1.
What are you going to do? Start with 20% of the game, and then what? Like that's the problem. You're trying to replicate an already full-featured project without being able to make any money, and that for me, I don't see how that's possible. Realistically, I think it's a cool
especially
concept.
Once it starts getting to the very time-consuming part.
Yeah.
I mean, the easiest thing for him to do would be to pretty much import Survival Game Kit. We've talked about this before.
Yep.
Bring Survival Game Kit into it and make Survival Game Kit feel as close as possible to H1Z1.
And just run around the H1Z1 map.
And be like, here you go. This is a rendition of H1Z1. You know, this is similar to H1Z1, but you're going to waste so much time trying to get it to feel exactly like it is. And I think if you brought the original H1Z1 back, you barely have anyone playing it in the first place.
Well, and that's part of the other thing. As cool as H1Z1 was at the time, I've said this ad nauseum. Rose-colored glasses are the best description of H1Z1. The game was trash from an engine standpoint, from a netcode standpoint, from a playability. I mean, the game sucked. Realistically,
yeah.
I mean, you just look at all of the issues that it had. I mean, you're gonna have what, a couple hundred people maybe that play this at the peak.
Yeah, and is that enough? Is that worth it for you to sit there and spend all this time? Other than it being, hey, look, this is something cool I did. It's on my resume. Right now I'm done with it and I'm moving on to something else.
Very cool project. I look forward to following the development, but I think it's important to manage expectations.
Yeah.
And say, and I'm not, and I've chatted very briefly with Silk, the developer, and they have a Discord server. You know, there's 130 people in the Discord that are, well, there's 130 survivors, and then there's 218 people that are offline. So I just think it's important to manage expectations.
Yeah.
And say, hey, this is something that's possible. With the biggest hurdle was the legal, aspect of it. And that appears to be kind of dealt with, I'll say. So now you've got to put up or shut up, build the game.
Yeah. And the thing is it's just very time consuming. I mean, it'll be interesting to see once they really dig into it, trying to replicate all of that, the look, without, I mean, if they're, as long as they're able to use as many of the original graphics, and if they can import as much as possible, they're kind of putting things in place, but they're not going to be able to use the code. So they're going to have to build the inventory system from scratch. They're going to have to build all that, the zombie AI, all that. And it's just not going to feel the same. I mean, unless they're incredibly good. And if they are incredibly good at this, then why aren't they should just turn around and make their own game.
Because at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to make any money with this. And I hate to keep coming back to money because, money's not everything. But this is you're building a business, right? That's what a video game is. It's a business. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
And that's the thing, is it's going to be hard for them to, because a lot of H1Z1 people fell in love with the quirkiness and the flaws of it, right? That's what they view H1Z1 as, with the zombies moved and all that. Replicating the bugginess, and it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be hard to make something that feels exactly the same way. And, if they're prepared to do that, or if they just want something that's close, they can say, hey, look, we made this is fun. Go, good for them. Go try it. But this is going to be, it'll be interesting to see how far they get along with it. And if they're able to put something out that's playable, then, that I give them props for that, because it is a lot of work to get to that point. And I hope they actually do it.
I hope so. And I guess, I don't know this to be the case, but I would imagine if you are a developer or have got some developer
I'm sure they would
experience.
I'm
sure they're interested in what.
Or if you're, one thing is, if you're a modeler, or if there's something, people that model that want to make it. I mean, the graphics, the assets in H1Z1 are incredibly simple. So even if you're not like a top end modeler, but you could create an asset that's the same level of quality as an H1Z1 asset, then I think that they could probably use your help with that too. Their buildings are very blocky. I mean, it'd be fairly easy to replicate a lot of that.
Yep. So you can contact the developer on Discord. The Discord link is on their website, z1ex.com, or send them an email, info@z1ex.com. We'll continue to follow this as new information comes along, as relevant things come along. We'll bring you up to date on it. And as I mentioned to the developer, it's cool to see the spirit of H1Z1 still alive. H1Z1 was cool back in 2015. It's now 2020. Let's say this game doesn't come out for a year.
Lot has happened.
2021. Is H1Z1 still cool 6 years later, 7 years later? I don't know. Time will tell. So, there you go.
Yep. All right. So, let's talk really quick. There was a game that's actually in our black book here.
Oh, is that the official Newegg book?
The official Newegg.
Not a sponsor of the program.
Not a sponsor of the program, but they did give us a free book years ago.
And let us play VR. They were super nice.
Yes, let's play some VR. Now in here, we have a thing there where it said, I will play SCUM when it reaches 0.3.1.
Okay.
So 0.3.1. I figured that was a ways out. But
do you have the date that you wrote that prediction?
No, let me see if I can estimate it based on. It was after you said they would fix PUBG at the end of October, and before
that must have been October of last year.
You said you would eat your hat on the air if Fortnite has a similar presence at PAX. So
I was right
long ago.
And I guess what? No hats were eaten.
You didn't have to eat your hat.
They had zero presents. They weren't even there.
Yeah. So the SCUM, they were on 0.2.65 December 3rd. I figured, man, that's going to take them a long time to get to the 0.3s. Well, if you look, the day before my birthday,
wow,
they all of a sudden went from 0.2.65 to 0.3.66. So they jumped up over a full version. It's like, for some reason, I don't know why it's not 0.2.66, which is what it should have been. They jumped a whole version number to 0.3.66 because this is a pretty large feature update. Yeah. They added something to the game, so they gave it a major version number,
which it makes sense.
And,
so, yeah.
And so I will be playing some SCUM just to see. And one nice thing is, I guess we can go over some of what they added in this. This is called SCUM version 0.3 and the city. So SCUM and the city.
Now, real quick,
Yes.
I do want to say probably next week for Game of the Week, we'll probably be playing SCUM. So, if you're looking to put something on your calendar or whatever, probably the 10th, we'll probably be playing SCUM as a group.
The sale as well. I'm assuming it's on sale right now. It's 33% off.
It is
up until January 2nd. So it's only on sale for a couple more days. So if you want to get it for $16.74, you probably should get it right now.
Yes.
So if you're wanting to play with us, make sure you grab SCUM before the 2nd, and then that way you can have it to be able to play.
Yes, sir.
So with this, I'll just kind of read what they're saying. Sadly, due to some last-minute issues, we had to postpone the release of the metabolism and weapon jamming feature, but we'll add that as soon as possible. There's going to be a full server wipe with this, so you should be starting fresh. And they said that here they've announced the city, and it's called Samobor. I don't know how they pronounce it exactly, but Samobor. It's the biggest city in SCUM so far. And if you look, it's got a lot of POIs, so like sports fields and gyms, and just a lot of interesting. Before, if you remember, it was mainly a bunch of little houses, that would make up a little mini town. This one actually looks like a city, so a lot more things to go check out. They've added in some better weapon animations. So, they were talking about sounds, and they went and recorded a lot of the guns with the military. And they've also been working with their mocap studio and getting a lot of these animations made. So you'll see that now they have swapped out some of the third-person animations, and they've been reworking the puppets, which is their version of zombies. So the zombies in here, the spawning system for that. Redone some things with how you manage the squad management. Their engineering skill, they've been kind of reworking that. They've been adding in some new base building elements that look pretty cool. There's a lot of things they've added since I last played this. I think I said 7 hours of this is what I played up to this point. And so it'll be interesting to go in there now, because they didn't have any of the base building things. They didn't have a lot of this stuff when I played it last time. I think that's the one reason, is because it was kind of trickling in, why I said I'm going to wait until a major version, which, hey, this kind of worked out how I was intending it to. I said I would play it at this version number, because by then they should have some major things added to it to where then I'll notice a difference. And so with this, I think there's enough added to it that they've reworked the UI. They've added the base building system. They got vehicles in there now. Just a lot of different things to where I think it's going to be a much more interesting game to play at this point.
You know what I find interesting? This is one of the only games that I've seen, and I'm scrolling through the notes here, that actually has a squad management system that has tiers. So at rank 1, you're a normal member. Now, we've seen this before. At rank 2, you can invite and kick people. At rank 3, you can promote rank 1 to rank 2. Rank 4, you're the leader. But some other things as well. So you get a squad name, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen an emblem, Brian? This is something that I don't feel like any of these other survival games have done, where you can actually make a clan emblem.
This is kind of an Arma thing.
Yeah.
So you can do this in Arma. So I think because there is a heavy Arma influence on this game, that would probably be where that came from. Because in Arma, you could add an emblem, and then like if you got into a vehicle, it would put it on the side of the vehicle and things like that. So I'm assuming that's kind of where they're pulling. But I haven't seen anyone else do that.
Yeah. So it's got an emblem that you can create. It's got like a clan information section, so other people on the server can see that. You can send messages to squad members. There's a full. I'll show a screenshot here. There's a full customization system for the clan. You could set the background. You set the symbol. This is something that we've. I
don't think that you could do it in game either. With Arma, it was more like something you uploaded.
I don't remember
correctly.
This is just something that we've always been a group. We've always been a gaming group when we play games. And I feel like a lot of games have done a very poor job at embracing group play, right? They throw in this half-assed group system with the most basic permissions in the world. And it's just cool to see that, like, hey, you're going to create a group and you're going to be able to you're going to be able to do some customization. And it's not surprising from SCUM because you can customize every damn setting about
little
your character.
Detail of the health system. And
so it's
they
not
definitely went overboard with
it's
that.
not
but it's good.
It's very good. It's not super surprising, but it's cool to see that, like, H1Z1 never did this. Rust doesn't do this. Ark might do it with a mod. But like, why are these major players not doing this? This is the most simple of simple things in the world, Brian. Emblem.
Well, remember in Ark where you could upload the art.
Yes.
And how crazy that was.
Yes, I remember.
I think now they have it to where it's an easier system to actually add something to. But having something where it's kind of a preset, you're picking a background similar to Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Call of Duty does something very similar, but I don't know why they wouldn't, because it's not that many variables. You're picking a background, you're picking a few pre-done graphics, placing them in a certain way. It's not causing a big resource problem. Or, one problem that you run into with Ark is when you have someone upload a graphic, well, then you have to worry about what they're putting on there. Also, you have to worry about, is it loading in efficiently? Because we would have things where someone came up to it quickly, it wouldn't actually show the graphic until later because it had to download it from the server. So I think that with this, I don't know why more groups or more games don't do things like this, because it's not really that crazy it doesn't add any more time or load time.
Yeah, I mean,
or lag.
I remember back in the Ark days, we did our
war room.
Yeah, we had our war room, and here's a there was a picture of me where here's a picture of Harry Truman in our war room.
Oh yeah.
And George W. Bush and Richard Nixon and all these iconic features. All the greats. And that was cool, but god damn, was that a pain in the ass. I mean,
it was not friendly at all.
And I mean,
Ark didn't make it easy.
No. And I mean, they should make it easy to put a nice picture of Harry Truman with a bomb blowing up behind him in your Ark base. I mean, that's not necessarily something you want in your video game. But we had to install it was like a third-party program you had to install on your computer that would...
Yeah, and then it somehow interfaced with the application and drew it.
I'm not saying I want something that advanced for SCUM, but the simplest customization for clans and groups does not exist in 99.99% of survival video games. It has never existed, Brian. Do you remember all of the... I'm going to call it fan art for lack of a better term, all the fan art that people would put on the H1Z1 subreddit of the clan banners and things that they wanted brought into the game? Why has nobody embraced this? Is it that complicated? What is the issue? Outside of sprays in Team Fortress 2, which is just random images, Team Fortress and Counter-Strike, besides sprays, nobody else does this.
Okay, so one thing that would be somewhat difficult is having something on a piece of cloth. That can be, because of rendering, and that can be a little bit more intensive, right? But having something on a billboard, having something on a flat, just like sprays, is not intensive. You're just placing an image, a flat image, in a certain spot, and there's no reason that would be, just like our Truman photo. That is a flat thing. It's not sitting there and having to do any kind of pre-rendering of an object to make it show. So I don't know why people don't do that. I think there's this weird, well, first of all, there's a little bit of liability when you let people upload things, which I'm surprised Ark let people upload like that. But there is I think if with the presets, kind of like what we're seeing here on SCUM, there's less risk. There's only so much that they can do.
I think it's cool to put our infection logo in there, but I'm all right with how Call of Duty does it. Just make a bunch, or Halo does the same thing. Just have a bunch of...
Make it flexible enough to where you can make something kind of still looking good.
Yeah, now this is very basic. This is literally background and symbol, and you choose a set of colors. So it's relatively simple in that regard, but it's a good start.
You could do the yellow. We could do the infection colors.
I'm sure we could find something.
Come up with something unique.
And I think that's cool. And I wish other games did that. Why does it? Why
it
SCUM?
seems like
Why is SCUM and not a bash on SCUM, but why is SCUM the trendsetter in this? Why are no
I
other
think that
developments
people
like,
usually-
hey, look at us, we're a game, and guess who likes to play our games? Groups of people. Why don't we give the groups of people the most basic thing in the world?
Yeah.
A symbol. Ryan.
Well, okay, so take a look at, for instance, what really caused the whole ping system to blow up. Remember the whole ping system? Apex. One game finally was like, oh, we're going to put in this feature, which is not that crazy of a feature, but no one was doing it.
Yeah. Now every game has it.
Now every game does that. It takes one actually thinking outside the box, and because I think a lot of times they are just remaking what they've seen before. Where something like this, they're like, well, other people haven't done that. There's probably a reason. I mean, most likely, here's the logic. Other people haven't done that. There's probably a reason they haven't done that. And, they probably dug into it more than I have. And, I don't want to have to go down there and then realize that I can't and wasted all that time.
Yeah.
When I'm making this game. But, you have a company like Apex where they come in and, they have people that are industry. That is a top tier company making that game.
Respawn Entertainment is these are the Titanfall people.
So they're like, oh, there's no reason we can't do this. Let's put a ping system in there and it'll work great.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these other ones that we're used to, these are, even Bluehole. And there was a lot that they were kind of doing, and you could tell that they've never done it before. Even when, I remember when we played PUBG, and for me, the buildings didn't spawn in. And I was shooting people through walls because I just saw people running around in the air, and I was shooting at them, and there was nothing preventing my bullets from hitting them. They're running inside of a building, probably thinking a hacker is killing them because they can't see me. It's stupid stuff like that. Where you don't run into that in other games. And so I don't know. I think that a lot of these games, it takes someone doing it, someone putting in the time and saying, all right, no one's really doing this, but I'm going to do it. Then other ones say, oh, that's pretty easy. Why? Let's throw that in our game. And then that's what they do.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting that nobody else has done this really.
Yeah. I had neophytes is because they're worried about what people will post. Well, but see, something like this, they can't really do anything.
Exactly.
If you give them a certain amount of features, don't allow them to upload pictures. There's only so much that they can do.
Bingo. Yeah, somebody will make a penis. That stuff has always happened, and it will always continue to happen.
Yeah.
But to not have the feature available is stupid, in my opinion. So
yeah,
I think that's cool. As cool of an update as this looks, Brian, new city, I find this to be the coolest thing because literally nobody else has done this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like seeing things that this is a medium small size developer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Closer to the small side. For them, they've been taking their time kind of putting out things. You could tell that they spend a lot of time. They spent a lot of time working on that whole stat system for the player. They put a lot of time, and they did it in a way that no other game I've seen has done it. And when I played it, that I was very surprised that for me, it wasn't bad. Like, what I'm saying? Like it wasn't crazy. You would think with a stat system, look at what Atlas did. Atlas took a very basic stat system and made it even more complicated than it should have been. With this, they had something that looked incredibly complex, but when you got in there and actually used it, I didn't find it overly complex to use. Yeah. It took a bit to understand what you're supposed to do, but then when you're doing it, thing worked just fine. So if they put that much thought into it, I'm sure this will be just fine. There was very few things I could complain about in SCUM saying they didn't work or that they were broken. I never felt that.
Well, there you go. And we'll likely be playing that for Game of the Week here coming up probably next week after we do Dayz. So we'll have back-to-back weeks of actual survival games, which is refreshing.
Something new.
Yes, absolutely.
So one thing I was just going to mention, people have been playing Ark.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in playing Ark, we have 6 servers up right now. So you can go on and play on pretty much all the different maps that they offer. We have them all linked. And so you can go on there and transfer between them, because a lot of things to learn certain recipes, you have to go to and purchase those recipes on a particular map. But because these are all linked, you can transfer your character over to that map, learn those recipes, and then go back to whatever map you're playing on. So it allows you to pretty much experience the whole game.
Yes. I want to thank our friend Grizzard for hitting us up with the resubscription here on Twitch. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And I'll say, Brian, I was like, hey, Brian, can you put up a server for Ark? And he's like, yeah. And the next thing you know, he's like, hey, there are 900 servers for Ark with the Infection Podcast tag on them. Here they are. There's no password on them. They're free open servers. Just don't be a scumbag and you'll probably be fine. Don't cheat, and that's the long and the short of it.
There are very few requirements. Don't cheat and don't be a scumbag.
I mean, if you can't follow those rules, I don't think we want you we don't want you anyway.
And you're more than welcome to jump into our Discord, hang out while you play. You're not required to be in our clan or do any of that, but you can more than welcome to jump in the channels and hang out and talk to people while you do that.
Yes, and don't touch PH's dinos, or you will get banned.
If you touch PH's dino, you will get banned.
Insta ban. You ever seen that? Do you ever watch Parks and Recreation?
I have seen it, yes.
You ever seen the episode where the foreign leader from like Chile or somewhere in South America comes to the city, and everything that you do in that country, you get arrested. Like undercooking chicken, you go to jail. Overcooking chicken, you go to jail. Leaving the water on when you're brushing your teeth, jail, insta jail. I think that's kind of what happens with our Ark.
Well, and so far we've banned 2 people, and one of them, 2 people total. So
now, to be fair, there's only like 9 people playing, so that's a
no. Actually, we've had quite a few people.
Oh,
because I had to update and restart the server once in a while, and I go look, and like one server will have 5 people on it, another one will have 3 people on it. Like there's people playing, people that
random people.
Part of our community.
I didn't know that. Great. Is the MOTD say like Infection Podcast?
On one of them, I got to check them all. I have to log into each one. The MOTD has to actually log into each server.
Oh, do you have to customize them on the server?
Yeah,
no, that's a pain in the ass.
It's a pain in the butt. Yeah.
Let's go back to Minecraft, where you can edit your text file to edit your MOTD.
I know. So we'll see. I'll try. I haven't been on there for a couple days. So
cool. Yes. So those servers are available. We'll put a link in the show notes on this episode. You sent me links to all the servers. I'll post a link here. Mm-hmm. They all have the same IP, different ports, or you can just search Infection Podcast in the game browser, and you should see all the servers.
Yep.
Make sure you're filtering it.
Yeah, it should be all 6 of them, and I have them labeled. You can join any server that you want. You can join, but remember the way that this whole kind of system that lets you move between servers works. If you create a new character on another server, it causes some issues. So what you do is you transfer. You go to one of the obelisks, and you transfer to one of the other servers with your current character. So just need to be careful that you don't end up deleting characters and messing. It is easy to do that on Ark.
Yes.
Where you say, oh, rather than doing a respawn here, I'm going to create my new character. Oh, everything's gone.
Everything's gone.
Isn't that nice?
My skill tree is gone. I've done that a handful of times.
They make it way too easy to instantly erase everything that you have.
Yes. So yeah, hopefully, if you're an Ark person, you can join that. Those servers are available and free to the public. And by the way, the only reason they're free to the public, Brian, is because of people that support us on Twitch Prime and through Amazon and Humble Bundle, which afford us the availability to purchase that server and keep it maintained.
Yeah, because we did donations, and we used money from all the donations that came in, and we purchased that server, and we purchased one that was capable of running. I mean, at least we've got 6 we have a 5M server running on there.
Oh, really?
We have 6 instances of Ark. We've got your Minecraft server still running. I don't know who's logging into it doing what, but it's still going. It's still going. So we've got plenty going on there, and the thing been running just fine. Haven't had any complaints. So
running those,
it was a very good investment. I think we did a really good job.
Yeah, well, it was a couple $100, but it was well worth it. We would have spent.
I mean, the fact that we can run 6 simultaneous Ark servers and doesn't blink an eye.
We would have spent a fortune running, because what we used to do was you would either run the servers or we would just purchase like random server hosting. Not anywhere else but Ping Perfect. We'd purchase server hosting.
Oh, and PH, yes, there is. I actually have Conan Exiles running as well. So Conan Exiles has been running. I haven't looked to see who's actually using it, but people do log into it and play. So it's been sitting there. So there is. So I'm sure Deacon is loving Conan Exiles.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Good game.
Yep.
All right. What else?
Okay, so here's one thing I was just going to mention. So Atlas, I created those tools for allowing people to run Linux servers of Atlas.
Yeah, where was that posted?
Well, if you could go to my biteoftech.com website, or you could go to my GitHub if you would like as well, which you can find by going to my website.
Jesus Christ.
But it's Atlas server tools on there. I created those tools, but this week I had a bunch of people ping me and they're like, I can't connect to servers on Linux. I was like, okay, well, maybe something changed. So I did quite a bit of troubleshooting this past weekend. And I think that Grapeshot has broken Linux server hosting for Atlas. And I've been getting into a little bit of contact with them, having some messages go back and forth, but I haven't been able to find a single person who has a working Linux server running Atlas currently. And according to Atlas or Grapeshot, everything is fine. But I created a fresh install with manually running it, you created a whole new map for it, just to make sure with their new editor, did everything, launched it, exact same problem. So kind of interesting. I'm still trying to figure out, people are like, well, can you fix this? There's only so much I can do with my tool because my tool manages the launching of the application. It doesn't actually fix Atlas itself. Grapeshot is going to have to do a little bit of work to actually make Atlas run on Linux. So I'm hoping that they have taken notice, because I asked somebody who's in communication with them saying, well, have they actually tried to run one of the recent builds on Linux? And they said, I'm not sure. Let me ask them. So, and I haven't heard anything back yet. So
Jesus.
Maybe they're actually trying it out and seeing if it actually works. But Atlas, I guess we could talk about some of their recent patches. 401.17 was their previous. Since then, they did a lot of fixes on 402.5. Mainly, they're affecting some of the different damages of grenades and things like that, kind of tweaking and balancing things. They did add an inventory sort option of sort by type. I know we've been waiting for that. And then increasing and changing some of the stack sizes of items, and then a couple of fixes. So that's been a couple weeks, but mostly just tweaking numbers. I'm not seeing a lot coming out of them. And I haven't seen, I kind of look and see, well, did they change anything that would break the servers? And I'm not sure. Other than 401.14, they fixed maps not loading on non-home grids for unofficial servers. Well, maybe they fixed it for Windows and then they didn't actually fix it for Linux. 401.17 says fix some server crashes. So who knows, in those, they could have changed something that broke everything, but I will keep an eye on that, and hopefully they'll fix it soon, and we'll see where Atlas goes from here.
All right, cool. Very interesting.
So let's talk about another survival game, one that we haven't played for a while, but I remember when we first played it, we discussed it on here and kind of how the networking worked for it. But The Forest. The Forest is a survival game that I think is taken off more on consoles than it really did on PC, just because of the style of it. But they are releasing, I don't know if this is not really a DLC, but was this like The Forest 2?
Essentially, yeah. It's a whole new game. And somehow, I watched the Game Awards kind of in the background. I had it on while I was working, so I was coming and going, and somehow I missed the fact that they released this trailer at the Video Game Awards, and for some reason I'm having an issue loading my file. But it's called Sons of the Forest, and it is apparently the Forest 2 for all intents and purposes. So let's watch this quick trailer. It's from the Game Awards a couple weeks ago. We'll watch that, and then we'll be back to discuss. Interesting. So it's to be clear, it's by the same development company. It's the same group.
Similarities.
It's I think Enlight's the name of the company.
Rather than a plane, it's a helicopter.
It's a helicopter, and the tattoo makes me think that these are people that escaped the forest, maybe sons of the forest.
There's some whole story. I never got to the end of the story.
Yeah, neither did I.
Of course, but there is an end story, like end game thing that happens. I'm assuming this is a continuation. The problem they're going to have is how many people actually know the ending of the story to know that this is the beginning of the next one.
I'd make the argument that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they explain a little bit.
Yeah, as long as you can play the game. So that's all we have. Literally, they released that trailer like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't seen anything since. So something to keep an eye out for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited every time that we have the opportunity to talk about a new survival game, because I feel like more and more the genre's kind of dwindling, right? Like for every game that comes out, 3 more cease to exist or never existed, like never come to fruition at all. So
yeah,
that's always a touchy subject. Speaking of survival games, Brian, that we don't know what's going to happen with, I was browsing the survival gaming subreddit. Shout out to those guys. And this game popped up in there. It's called Withstand. It's supposed to be out on March 5th, and it appears to be, it looks just like PUBG. There's no video or anything like that. It's an early access game. There's some devlogs and whatnot, but it's a survival game, but it's single player. So it's got a very similar look to what game am I thinking? Very similar to PUBG. It's got the vehicles look the same. The maps kind of got the overall look of PUBG, but it is a single player survival game.
Yeah.
It's by a weird developer. Don't know how to pronounce it. Egidjus Bakar. I don't know if that's a person's name, the name of a company.
It sounds like a person.
It's Russian, from what I can understand. It's a Russian company, Russian person, whatever it may be. It's called Withstand Survival, single player. Something that, the link's in the show notes if you're interested. There's not really a whole hell of a lot of information. There's a couple devlogs that are in there, and they talk about the features of the game. There's a little bit of a backstory, which I know is of some interest to Brian. They do have a Discord server, but that's kind of it. It's super sketch on information.
That's the thing with those. I mean, I think a lot of survival game, one problem is survival game usually has to have some sort of a story. Rust is a little bit different. Rust is not about you discovering anything, but it's a multiplayer game. And Rust has taken off because PvP has become the focus on that game. Same thing with a lot of these other ones. The ones that really thrive online are the multiplayer PvP games. I think that when you have a single player game, then the backstory and the story that you're unfolding is really important. Like just running around and looting things isn't going to cut it for 5 hours. I mean, like you'll put up with it in a multiplayer online game because you think that you're building up towards having some PvP and shooting someone. But man, if they don't have a good story and something to kind of bring you along in it and progression, then I just don't see it taking off. But if they have done something like that, and they've done it right, then maybe it'll work.
Here's a little bit of the backstory for you, Brian. It says, you play as a journalist who arrived to an unknown island to reveal all the mysteries and find out information about secret government experiments. On the island, you will encounter infected residents. You can't use that word. That's our word. Wild animals and special forces who arrive to cover up all traces and prevent anyone from leaving the zone. Explore the... You know what it kind of reminds me of? Just based on that description, the Chernobyl game that just came out, it kind of seems similar to that, where it's going to be open world but kind of a set story on rails, kind of. That's what it seems like it's going to be. There's going to be a story. This is not. It's not.
I mean, if you're going to do
survival,
if you're going to do a survival single player game, then it almost has to be kind of something that eventually is on rails to a point, because they got to take you through the story somehow.
Yeah.
Just like what was the Firewatch? Firewatch did a very good job of kind of feeling open world, but it took you along in a story, had a very concrete beginning and end. If you're going to do a single player game, you can't just have it to where they run around and aimlessly. I mean, you kind of are feeling like that right now in Raft, right? In Raft, you hit a point where it's like, okay, well, where am I supposed to go next? They have to kind of progress you and move you to that next step. So you're like, oh, okay, now I'm here, and here's where I'm going, and this is my new area of trying to survive in, or grow in, or building something towards. They have to keep putting it in front of you, and because in something that's too open and too free, it's too easy to get lost and stop progressing because you didn't hit that little trigger wherever it is that then activates the next step.
Yeah.
So they have to take you there.
So the developer was actually posting in the comments on the Reddit post. He said that a beta is going to be available before its March 5th, 2020 release date is when it's estimated. If this is a short, kind of like Chernobyl, like a short story survival game, 6, maybe 8 hours, I think there hasn't really been a whole hell of a lot of that.
Right? I think there's a market for that type of thing.
There's been open world for an open world MMO, for lack of a good term, and Firewatch, which is like 3 hours long. I don't feel like there hasn't been a lot of single player survival games with a small to medium sized story, which I think is realistic for a small development thing, because that's the other issue.
Even, that works well on console as well. I mean, you got to think, if you're looking
the
for
Forest
something that works on PC.
Why is the Forest popular on console? You were just talking about that. I mean, there it is.
Because it's something that's simple enough. It takes you along. It has a story. There is an end to it, right? People on console generally don't want to play an endless survival game. They don't want something where they're just running around and doing menial tasks. Like, we're on PC, for some reason, we put up with that. We're more than happy to sit and do some menial task for 6 hours and be like, oh, see you tomorrow. I'm going to do the same thing. But I think on console, they want to have it to where there's a story that's being told. There's some sort of a goal, a progression that's happening. And I think that in a survival world, if they create that on PC, something that also carries over to console, just like they've done with the Forest. The Forest, we saw a very good presence there. I mean, as far as, we tried to get an interview with one of the developers of the Forest, but they were there at the PS4 booth. They were at the PlayStation booth, and the PlayStation gave them a pretty good spot, out there, and a lot of people were playing that game, and it was much more popular than if you were to put a PC sitting there with the Forest. And so I think it made a very big difference for them, kind of all of a sudden being like a new game on the console world. Like, all of a sudden, like, oh, I haven't seen this game. They've never heard of it on PC, because of PC.
I've said it a million times. As big as you may think the PC audience is, it does not pale in comparison to console.
Well, I think a lot of times now we're seeing companies make their games on PC, but then release it. When they release, then they go to console. Like, it's a whole new game.
Well,
so they test it on us, and we get the buggy versions a lot of times.
Well, but there's reasons for that, because, and we've seen it we saw a bunch with Arc and a bunch with Atlas, is you can't just release updates on Microsoft and Sony,
and there's
like you do
restrictions.
on PC. Yes,
there's to go, but they could consider what they consider gold is quite the process. And I remember us hearing, when was it? I don't remember if it was Arc or Atlas, or if it was even H1Z, whatever it was. There was some type of thing where they were talking about going to gold, and it was like some big process that ended up being way delayed. I think it was Arc, because there were so much more requirements just to do a release under the console world. So, yeah, we kind of get the earlier ones, and then when it's finally ready and most of the bugs are out, then it goes to console.
Yeah. Which
all right,
makes sense.
someone had brought up, they actually were asking about, someone on YouTube was asking about Red Dead 2 for PC. Do you think that's going to lead to some co-op survival mods?
Yeah.
And we actually have some news here about modding with the Red Dead, and actually something that's not really good news because there's actually a modding project for Red Dead Redemption that was canceled because of a lawsuit from Take-Two Interactive.
Wow.
So now this was a mod, I think, that was making what Red Dead Redemption 1. I think they're rebuilding it in Red Dead Redemption 2, if I remember correctly.
Well, it was. I mean, it was like an enhancement mod.
Okay, so they were making it better.
Yes. And this was a Red Dead Redemption 1 project.
So they were enhancing Red Dead Redemption 1.
Correct. And I saw the story on Reclaim the Net, and this is a recent story. So as of like 3 days ago, they canceled their Red Dead Redemption 1 enhancement project.
Mm-hmm.
And I would assume that this is going to set some precedent for who's the big group? The people that do 5M. They've also mentioned they're going to do.
They're doing their modding for Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, do you think though that this is because? Do you think they're going to be re-releasing or doing some sort of a Red Dead Redemption 1 remake at some point? I mean, I would think that the reason that they don't want someone going and making a better Red Dead Redemption 1 is because they want to re-release the remastered Red Dead Redemption 1.
It's possible. I did see people talking about that.
I would think that is the thought of it, because otherwise, what's the point of them preventing them from doing this and not selling any more copies of Red Dead Redemption 1?
Yeah. I just think it's interesting. And I mean, we've had long conversations about intellectual property. And I mean, we just talked about H1Z1 and that whole project. I just think it's probably what you said, Brian, the fact that they plan on doing, what is it called when they do like Game of the Year edition, remaster Game of the Year edition kind of remake of the game. And they can't obviously do that with.
Well, and there were, if you remember, people had come across maps of some of the old content that were not in Red Dead Redemption 2. There was never a point where you were able to get to those in the game. Like there was never a point where it took you that part of the story, but they were finding some of these old maps in off kind of areas to the side that you're not supposed to get to. People were glitching through things and getting to some of the old content's maps. Yeah. That just makes me wonder if there's going to be something at some point, if they've been working on it with the new platform of Red Dead Redemption 2, then kind of remaking the Red Dead Redemption 1.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that it's doomsday for 5M and all of those modding projects, but if there's one group that is going to fight you tooth and nail, it's going to be Take-Two and Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, that whole posse. So to go back to the question that Kagan asked on YouTube, do you think Red Dead Redemption 2 PC could lead to some big co-op survival mods? No. I don't think people are going to I don't think people are going to put the time into making a mod when there's the possibility that one day when they're sitting at home playing Xbox, they're going to get a certified letter delivered to their house that they're being sued by Take-Two. Why would anybody in their right mind want to do this? And
even, I mean, just look at how friendly Rockstar has been, even with 5M. 5M has not had help at all from, and that's probably one of the primary reasons GTA 5 is still selling on PC, is because of the whole our role-playing community and the 5M community. But if you look, like, they've had so many hassles in dealing with Rockstar. Rockstar has done nothing to make it easier for them to go and mod those systems. So it doesn't seem like a friendly modding platform.
Well, and that's the point.
They've not opened it up to that at all.
You look at games like Minecraft, very open to modding. You look at games like Ark, very open to modding. Rust. We're talking about Unturned. We talked about Unturned a couple weeks ago. Their new California map, literally a mod somebody built. Dayz. I mean, these games are very open. Now, to be fair, most of these games are not made by and did not cost billions of dollars to make, or hundreds of millions of dollars like GTA and Red Dead Redemption cost. But I just don't know why you as a developer would want to put your eggs in the basket of, let's make a mod for a game, and at any point, what are you going to do? You're going to fight Rockstar? You're going to fight Take-Two in court?
Yeah. There's no chance.
You'd be out of your freaking mind. So I think it'd be cool. I think Red Dead Redemption could be a cool platform for some of those things, but I don't know why anybody in their right mind would embark into that all willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense.
It seems like a big risk to where there's other platforms that have embraced modding. If you're looking for survival, one thing, as many problems as Ark has, one thing that they do well is the modding for Ark.
Yeah.
I mean, it has all the platforms for survival, but you could go through and add and look at, the structures plus and all these things that people have added to kind of make it. And then those have been integrated into the main game. And if you go and play Ark on our servers, we have the structures plus mod in there, which a lot of it is now built into the base game, but we also have the mod, which gives you additional things. The building system with structures plus is very good. And so if you really had any kind of programming ability, it would make sense to go to a platform that at least gives you enough tools to be able to make those things. And 5M, they're constantly having to work just to get those things to work. And, new content that comes out, there's no easy path for them to import those things. They have to do a bunch of rewrites and rework it and make things work. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And so,
and there's no support.
I don't think it's a good platform to do it. Yeah. There's no support from any of the companies that are involved to do this.
I'm crazy, but am I crazy in saying, isn't Gary Newman making a new survival sandbox? Somebody is it not? Didn't we just talk about somebody that's making a new survival sandbox game?
I'm trying to remember.
Like in the past couple of weeks, maybe the past month, I could have sworn we talked about somebody making
have to look.
Survival sandbox.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'm trying to remember what we may have talked about that was something close to that, but I'm not sure. I'll have to look. I'll have to look through our past notes.
There's just better platforms.
Yeah.
Look at Dayz. Arma's a great platform.
Are you thinking of Player Unknown and his new thing that he's going to make?
Yes.
I'm not sure, but I think I'd mentioned that time. It'd be interesting for him if he's really,
maybe
he comes from a modder's background.
Yeah, maybe it was.
I think I'd mentioned, he's creating it under Unity, first of all, which, is fully capable of doing this. It's one of the top game engines that are out there.
The top two. One of the top two.
One of the top two game engines. And so, he's not doing it under Unreal, but he's doing it under one of the other top ones. And so he could make it if he's truly interested. He has the ability to make a platform that has in really good modding support. I've been waiting. I know I've been saying this a long time. I think a very popular game would be one that just says, hey, we're going to have a base game here, and then we're going to make it so you can mod it and make it whatever you want. Well, similar to what Gary's mod, but
Arma.
Something, like Arma, but more modern and more user-friendly. Arma is very old technology. We need a new one with all the new technology that's out here.
Minecraft is the future. RTX on.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So I thought that was interesting. Thanks for the question, Keegan. Appreciate that. You did a fantastic job segueing us into another conversation. And plus, the other thing too is the price. Red Dead Redemption is a $60 title, and for the foreseeable future, will likely be a $60 title.
Yeah. One thing that we have here in the notes is talking about the sales for Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Epic Game Store.
How's that go?
They sold 408,000 units in the first month of Red Dead Redemption 2. So you got to think that's a game that's been out now for about a year.
Over a year.
I mean, you got over a year now.
October 26, 2018 was the launch day, according to the 10-foot poster that I have hanging above my head.
Behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool poster. PlayStation 4.
So, I mean, definitely, they're definitely doing decent on sales. But yeah, I know that I think PH should put that in there. 408 units in the first month for a game that's been out for a year. And I'm sure that they're going to continue to sell. It'll be interesting to see, as they go on to, they've got it on on Steam and here, what they're doing across all of them. So, is now one thing they did say, according to Steam charts, the game has sold 200 to 500,000 copies on Steam. So they're right about in the same place.
So let's say they sold 1 million copies
between the two platforms, at least in the first month.
It's not surprising. I think that's way lower than GTA. I know for a fact it's way lower than GTA. GTA sold millions of copies within the first month.
But I think that, this game, it'll be interesting to see if they can get it to where modding actually happens on this. You'll have people buying it just for that. I think most people who are interested in this story have already played it on just like me. I'm not going to buy it on PC. I already own it on PlayStation, and there's nothing to entice me to play it on PC. The online isn't that good. A lot of
the online sucks.
Yeah, I don't enjoy. I go and try to play the online. It's just not an enjoyable experience. There's nothing to kind of coax me to play it.
Does this entice you?
Oh, I gotta get to the. If they had a really good modding system to where it actually felt like you could do something cool, but I still can't even talk about the end. Ugh, I wish you just would play.
Why are you so disgusted by me? Okay,
I'm just saying. I want to say a frustration about the game, about the end game. That something that frustrated me about the very end of the game.
I got a new game as well.
Yes,
I got Pokemon Sword for the Nintendo Switch. I'm going to play.
So you're going to play it?
I'm going to play.
You take it out of the package?
I already opened it.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to play Outer Worlds. I'm going to play the new Doom. I'm going to play the new Doom 2016. I'm going to play Raft. I'm going to play some Halo. I'm going to play some COD.
All right. That's
not
your plan.
Yeah. No Red Dead though. At least not right now.
Well, and that's the thing is there's no reason for me to go back and play it. The game didn't leave it the end of the game isn't done in a way to where it encourages you to come back and continue playing. You know how some games they say, all right, now you've done this, here's some challenges you can do, or here's something extra. Like it doesn't, I'm not going to give away, but there's nothing at the end that does that for you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I beat the game. It's done. Maybe I want to go and find some odd side story that I missed, here and there. You could go do that, but there really just isn't, if there isn't that thing enticing you in there, which I think is a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
The game is such a huge world, like come up with something to make it continually playable.
PH mentions how GTA is still king. Hopefully they show something at E3. Something to keep in mind, the
GTA 6, I'm looking forward to that.
The new Xbox is going to be out holiday season of next year. So I don't know if it's too early, but it might make sense depending on, I'm sure Sony's going to announce soon when their new system is going to come out. I'm sure it's going to be the same time frame as the Xbox. I would imagine that could be one of the, I'm not going to say launch titles,
initial titles,
but one of the first dozen titles that exist on those platforms, which did not work with GTA 5 because I own GTA 5 on 3 different platforms. I own it on the Xbox 360, Xbox One, and on PC. So they triple dipped on me, and but I don't. There's no time for that now, right? Because E3's in what, August?
Yeah, they would have to really. They're not going to have it out that soon.
No.
Now, one thing, Keegan's bringing up the Witcher 3. If you notice on Netflix, they have Witcher 3 out. or they're not Witcher 3, but they have a Witcher series. They have a show that they put out that's a Netflix series, and it has caused people, and I haven't heard. I've kind of seen opinions of whether or not it's people that are replaying the story or people that are now interested all of a sudden in the Witcher story and have gone and purchased and are now playing it. But it had as many players as I think of like GTA.
No shit.
Yeah, there's the simultaneous players right now of The Witcher is really high at the moment. Like people are watching the show and playing The Witcher, which is a very good game. If you have not played, like Head Neophyte, he mentioned, if you haven't played, he hasn't played it, I would encourage you to go and play.
It hit its all-time player count yesterday.
Yes.
The game has been out since May of 2015 on Steam. And it hit its all-time player count, almost 100,000, 94,651 yesterday.
And don't you think that this could be, so we've seen, think about this. How many times have we seen there's a television show that's popular,
Walking Dead,
and then they turn around and release some stupid game that doesn't do it justice
Walking
whatsoever.
Dead.
Right. Perfect example. We haven't seen a good Walking Dead game that actually captures the feeling of what the original feeling of The Walking Dead was.
Okay.
Right.
But this is reversed.
Exactly.
And now, by the way,
that's what I'm saying is you have a hit game, a game that has a very good lore, very good backstory. It's much easier, I think, to turn around and make a television series that captures that, because you're already doing a lot of the similar work. When you have a game that has a lot of cutscenes and is telling a story, you're already doing a lot of the work that you do in a television or an animated series or whatever it is. All of that is done in making a game. I think it's much more difficult to turn around and take something that is a television series, turn around and make it a game that's playable. I think that for them, they would find much more success in doing it this way, because I think it's much easier to go to film from a game than try to make a game.
Well, it's funny because, without getting too off track here, there has never been, and don't at me on this, there has never been a successful movie adoption to a video game. There hasn't been. Now, Halo's supposed
I can't think of any that
now,
really
TV series I'm a little rusty on. I know Halo is supposed to be working on a series with either HBO or Showtime, one of those. They're supposed to have a crazy live action Halo show, or maybe it's a movie. I don't remember what it is. But outside of that, I know Assassin's Creed's tried it. Those are no good. World of Warcraft did it. I saw a bunch of mixed things on that.
Yeah.
No video game movie has ever worked. And I don't think there's been many TV shows.
But I've seen a very positive comments on this.
Well, clearly. Series. I mean, shit, Brian, there's 100,000 people playing the game that's 5 years old. Yeah.
And so I think that if they've captured it right, I think that since now we talked about people, they never, like these companies, they don't realize until someone actually does it once and it does it right. Then they're like, oh, we can do this. And then you see a bunch of them happening. I think this is going to be possibly kind of a spark to, oh, well, if you do this right, people will buy the game, or, I think we'll start seeing more some of those games that have a really good backstory, really good lore. Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see how they would.
I mean, serious. What about a movie in the Fallout universe?
But the story itself, as long as the people that make Fallout didn't actually have anything to do with making the movie, it would be perfect. But I think that is a good example of, you could really go through and you have a good lore. It's very difficult to tell it in a video game because it takes a lot of time to develop that, but you can continue the story between maybe even version game releases. You know what I'm saying? You have like a version 1 versus, the next release, a new release. During that time, you're still building on the lore. You're keeping people interested, and then release the second one. Like, I think that would be an interesting model that we haven't really seen yet. You release games and there's a dead time between them.
I disagree. I think the solution is the TV series, not the movie, because you spend.
Well, yeah, TV series, because I think it's easier to kind of trickle along.
When it's spent,
and
you don't
can
have to spend
kind of keep the story. You can adapt the story based on user interest,
and it's not so sink or swim. Like a movie is either a success or a failure. Like there's really no middle ground. It either sells really well and a lot of people see it, or they don't. There's not many movies that are middle ground. But a TV series, on the other hand, is totally different. It's a Netflix exclusive. It's a Netflix show.
I think it is Netflix. Yeah.
Now, Keegan on YouTube points out Detective Pikachu. While yes, Detective Pikachu was a good movie, it's not really a video game movie, right? They're using Pikachu's likeness. Same thing with the new Sonic movie. It's using Sonic's likeness. It's not really a Sonic movie.
If you look at Sonic, how much backstory you really know about what's happening in Sonic?
I mean, I know a lot.
I mean, there are some characters.
He runs very quick. He's got big white glasses. Have you ever seen that? His eyes are not. His eyes are tiny little black specks. They're big glasses.
Yeah.
Tails is a doofus.
And then there's that guy who has like the
Dr.
mustache.
Robotnik. Okay, he's not a guy with a mustache.
I mean, there is story there, but most people don't know.
What about Knuckles? What about Silver, Brian? What about all these exciting characters in the Sonic universe? Don't take this away from me, Brian.
But see, that's the perfect way where I think, unless you're a really die-hard Sonic fan,
it's my favorite franchise.
Most people don't know any of those things about the story. Most people aren't willing to put in the time to actually learn all that, right? But if you put it in a movie, you put it in a TV series, you can get your average person to now know about the lore, and then they'll be more interested in playing the actual game because they have an idea what's going on. Most people aren't playing all 5 different Sonics or whatever there are.
There's a lot.
Actually know. But whatever main ones there are.
Sonic 2006 or die.
Yes. Most people don't know all that to where they, they're like, who is this character? I don't know. I'm just going to play. I'm just moving. I'm zooming along the map. That's fine. They don't really care. But you can do that in a television series and get people kind of caught up.
But see, what's funny though, if you go back to and you might know more, I think you would know more about this. If you go back to the 90s though, Brian, there was a Super Mario, maybe it's late 80s. There was an animated Super Mario Bros. TV
90s.
show.
Well, okay.
90s.
But there was a
not the live action one. That one sucked.
Yeah.
That was kind of cheesy. But there was an animated Mario cartoon, which I don't know if it's based on its success. The live action did suck. It was the cringiest thing in the world. It was like a bad porno. Every movie, it's just like the cringiest thing in the world. But other than that, I don't know of any other video game TV series or shows or movies.
Okay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Movie then
you cannot
game.
Tell me.
Original movies, though, right? Yes. Movie first, not a game.
I'm pretty sure, but I'm saying they did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games were very good.
Yeah, they were good in the 90s. If you made a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game today, it would suck because you'd have nothing to do.
There was a lot of backstory to
there is. I just don't think you'd make a good game out of it. Cool games on was it on the SNES?
Yeah, and they also had arcade games.
Very cool in their time.
Yeah,
but what like Rust? Can't make a movie on Rust. I mean, you could, but it's not going to.
You could, but it would. Where you could go with it. Just a bunch of flopping penises you run around. That's all it would be.
But like that's what I'm saying. Call of Duty, they've never tried to make a movie. I don't think that would be any good either. It's hard to find a franchise that you can make a movie out of or a TV show. Like, could you imagine if Game of Thrones made a video game? It'd be terrible.
I think they've tried. Like, there's been little weird ones here and there that never really did well. So what's one that we talk about the cutscenes on? What's a game that's 99% cutscenes?
Are you like what question?
Because remember, there's games that we watch and we're like, man, that was just all cutscenes. I mean, the Call of Duties, even not modern. What's the Call of Duty? Their competitor,
Battlefield.
Mm-hmm. They have a ton of cutscenes. You don't really get.
I think there was a Battlefield movie. I think I didn't see it though.
But the thing is there's certain games where they do a really good job with cutscenes, and they're telling a story a lot through that. I think those would have an easy time than transitioning to maybe a television series or like a Netflix series or something to kind of continue that story and get people interested.
Yeah.
And get people playing that, especially if you're on console, because you can get people that watch it and they're like, oh, it's on PS4. I'll go buy a copy of it and try it out. I think we'll start seeing more and more of this happen.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to become more popular.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because there is a very lack.
PH is pointing out WoW cinematics. WoW cinematics are good, but the movie just didn't capture. And there's so much lore with WoW. I think they just did a poor job, and possibly it was. I think possibly it was the producer, the director, or whatever, just didn't do it right. Because I think with WoW they could have done something that really captured the story. I just don't think it was done well. I just don't think it was done right.
I look forward to it. I think that would be cool. I look forward to seeing more. I've never played The Witcher. But more.
You never played it?
No.
You should. If you see it on sale, it's a very good story. Yeah, I know you'll put all that time, but it is one where the interactions, the graphics, the story is really good. It actually pulls you through the story. I think that's why playing it on console is very good. It feels like a big open world game, which it is, but they do a very good job of bringing you through the story. They don't lose you in the world. Like it is definitely more of a console type of game, but it was made for the PC originally.
I've never played Skyrim either. Just saying.
And some people say Skyrim one of the best games ever made, and yet you've never played it.
I've got my Pokemon game that I somehow now lost. I don't know where I put it. Right here. I've got my Pokemon game.
Maybe I haven't played Skyrim.
No.
You need to play Skyrim.
I have it.
You can play it on console.
I own it on Xbox and PC. I haven't played
you
either.
Just never played it?
No.
Oh.
I bought it brand new on the Xbox 360. I played like 45 minutes of it and never touched it again.
Oh, well, all right.
It was like 2011. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've managed to piss away the last quarter of the show. What else you want to get in here before we round out here for this week?
Man, there's so much that we didn't talk about here. First of all, let's play that Rust video really quick, because they had their Christmas 2019. We never did talk about that. But there is a video that they put out, and Rust, the ultimate survival game. But this is called Seasons Beatings, is what they're calling this, the Christmas 2019.
Giggity.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Was that him shaking with fear? They didn't want to put in a shaking animation, so they just had his face kind of move left and right. Great. Oh. Here goes our friendly E rating.
Wow. I'll tell you what. Yes. Say what you want about Rust. The gruesomeness and the gruesomeness of the trailer, very accurate to the gameplay. Break down the door and instantly blow somebody's head off with a shotgun. Very accurate in Rust.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. They talk about they have the fireplace and the stockings and just some of they have a snowmaker,
Yeah, it's cool.
a snow machine. They have some lights and different things that you can do. So, but that is the Christmas update for Rust. So you should have those in there now. More than welcome, go check them out.
Yeah, I'm trying to scrub through here. I don't think there's any other. I think we covered. Oh, there's one other holiday update that I want to get to. For Xera, they did their event. They called it Jingle Bot Revenge, and it's their winter event. It's running until January 10th, so you've got till next Friday for that. There are 52 new skins, so a whole bunch of skins in the game, and a bunch of gifts that are scattered throughout the map. There's 9 new holiday items. There's 52 skins that are available, some outfits, holiday decorations that are applied to houses and things, and then a couple of changes that they made, including improvements to the new snow weather conditions, fixed an issue on the helicopter, which character movement could not update after exiting the helicopter. On the bunker, they fixed an issue with bunkers filling with water. The map, they fixed an issue where grass was floating in some areas of the map, as well as not being generated in other areas. So, little bit of TLC, but mostly their winter / Christmas event, which is going on now until January 10th. So if you're interested in some holiday skins or want to get a look at that, you can do so. The game is currently on sale. It's 50% off. So it's $10, and they actually got a Steam Award, Brian. They're in the category the best of 2019 new releases. So congratulations to Josh and his team over there. I know that they're busting their asses all the time trying to, and this is an example of like what we were talking about earlier with the H1Z1 project. These guys have been building this game now for months, years. And they're just at this state now where it's playable. So that's what I was talking about when I said managing your expectations.
Yep. And that's part of the issue with these is people now don't have the patience that they used to. There's so many games coming out. It's very difficult for, I think, these developers. And I'm sure this is part of, we talked a lot about with Dead Matter and them, trying to have the game at a certain point when they release. It's very difficult because when you release a game and then update it over time, you get that initial funding and then update it over time, people kind of get frustrated with the development process now because there's 10 other games they could be playing at this moment, where when we first started this podcast now almost 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. We didn't have a different game every month to play. We'd be like, oh, there's going to be in 3 months a game's going to be coming out. But
when
now
Ark came out
next week, yeah. That was a rubber banding mess when it first came out. I don't remember how much rubber banding there was in Ark and just the nightmare it was.
Every time the server saved.
Yeah, the server would save and like everything would be oh, okay. Oh, hold, everybody stop. Server saving. It was a nightmare. And now they've got it stable. People are much less patient now. But the thing is if you want to support a game, kick some funding to it and then wait, and wait till they release, kind of like SCUM. As I said, I'm going to wait a while. I'm not going to sit there and harp on it every week and saying, why isn't this done? Let them get to a point where they feel like it's ready to do a major release and then go check it out. Do that. I think that's kind of the new way, rather than everything being in early access and sit there and wait for it every week, saying, why don't you have this done? Fund it if you want to, buy it, and then wait 6 months, wait a year, and maybe it'll be a game that's ready to play.
Yeah.
We never did do a game giveaway.
No, we did not. Are
we going to skip that?
We'll do it. I guess we'll go ahead and go ahead and skip that. Little late on that.
Sorry.
I will say, based on that, the comments you just made there, Brian, if you did not have a chance to check out our Christmas episode, we spent a good chunk of it breaking down an article that was written over at PC Gamer that spoke a lot about unfinished survival games. So if you because we weren't live last week, if you haven't had a chance to check that out, and you're interested in that conversation, I think we talked about it in the first half of the show.
Yeah,
I highly recommend that you check out that section of last week's podcast because we talked a lot about it.
Yep, for sure. All right, how about we just discuss some of the things that we're kind of skipping because there's
Sure.
a lot of things that we didn't cover. I think.
Oh, I've got one more quick thing before you do that.
Yes.
I just want to mention it really quick. Tesla, they've got their new their cars out. They've got like the big iPad looking thing that's kind of the center console. Yeah. The new software update is going to have Stardew Valley playable on it, which, by the way, Stardew Valley is a super cool survival game. Yeah. I thought that was kind of interesting. First survival game on Tesla. Brian, can you
be released in a vehicle?
You going to go out and buy one of these so that you can report on the send us your Twitch your Twitch Prime thing so Brian can go buy a.
We'll have a money meter on the side.
$68,000 Tesla.
90%. When we get to 90% of the funding needed, I'll go and buy one. How about that?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. When that gets up, I'm sure somebody will shoot a video and we'll show that. I thought that was something that was rather interesting. Yeah. Wasn't expecting to see that.
One thing I will mention, there has been an article talking about how Borderlands 3 is now on Stadia, but it's a release from October. So one thing I did want to mention, the problem with Stadia is the developers have to kind of work two different branches of the game. They have to have something that's made on a different set of hardware. And so as you're seeing here, they have Borderlands 3. They released it. They have two different branches, similar to how you would have maybe a console branch and a PC branch. You're seeing the same thing here with Stadia. You now have a Stadia branch. And if the developers don't take it seriously, if they don't keep it up to date, you'll have one that's possibly out of date. Just like sometimes we see PC is out of date from a console, or sometimes we see consoles are behind PC. Now you have Stadia to add to that mix. There's some other, I'm going to skip over some of the things having to do with China and cloud gaming, because we can talk about those probably next week. We'll add that into that discussion.
All right.
ROE had some updates. We'll skip over those. PUBG has some things that they're changing a little bit. We'll skip over those and maybe discuss them a little bit next week. Arc had a bunch of updates, nothing groundbreaking, a lot of just fixes. And I think that was all the main things. Some of those other stories we'll carry over and actually finish up next week.
Yeah. Game of the week is Dayz. We're gonna give that a shot. It's been a while since I played Dayz. Brian will be a newbie, much like all of us, because we haven't played.
I can't even figure out how to craft. I mean, that's how newbie I am.
The last time I played Dayz was when they gave me an Xbox key.
Yeah,
that was at least a year and a half ago. So we'll be playing that Friday night. Hopefully, you will join us for that. Before we go any further, oh Jesus, my tablet is turned off, so it's gonna make doing the music for tip of the week.
Did it die?
No, it was just off. No. Can we do a little reverse order, Brian? Would you mind doing tip of the week while I get all that stuff set up? Then we'll do current players and roll out of here.
For sure.
Well, all
right. Well, tip of the week's where I go through and either give a general gaming tip or one for a specific game. And this week we've been playing a lot of Ark, so I figured that would be tip of the week.
Oh yeah.
All right. So one thing that you may have noticed if you've been playing on our servers, and we were talking a little bit in the pre-show, but we have 6 different servers that allows you to transfer a character or dinos, different things between the different servers. And so if you're interested in doing that, let's go over some of the possible benefits of doing it. Would be, first of all, maybe you can get a dinosaur on a certain map that doesn't spawn on the map that you play. You would be able to go tame that dinosaur on another map and then bring it over. Another thing would be that possibly there's an item that you can get, that you can loot. Maybe you want to craft a certain thing, a certain type of a wall or something, and that resource is available on another map much easier. You could go through and transfer it that way. Also, there are engrams that you cannot learn on unless you're on a specific map. With each of these DLCs that they put out, there are certain recipes that are only available to learn when you're on that map. So what you can do is you can go to one of the airdrops or to one of the obelisks, and you can activate and migrate your character. This will bring up an interface that allows you to store certain items. There are certain items, if an item doesn't exist it doesn't have the ability to exist on certain maps, it won't let you transfer with those. But you can carry a number of items. You can transfer dinosaurs. There's a way to use a cryo freeze of a dinosaur. There's that you can do to actually put it in your inventory, transfer over, and then you throw it out, and it's instantly there. A little bit easier of a way to do it. But one thing you keep in mind is you can only have one character per server. So if for some reason you've been logging onto these separate servers and running separate characters, when you do the migration over to the other server, it's going to delete that other character. So you may want to keep in mind, well, I've done some progress on one server, and then I've created another character on this other server. When you start moving around, you're going to lose a character. So be very careful of that. One thing there's a restriction of, you cannot transfer between PvP and PvE servers. So if you're trying to do this on the official servers, you are not able to do it between those. But main thing is, what we've been using it for is maybe you like one map more than another, or you want to learn those engrams. You just go to the obelisk, transfer over. You should have some points saved up, especially on ours, because we give people more engrams than they need. You could go jump to that server, learn the things you need to learn, and then transfer back to your main server that you've been leveling up on. So it's worked out very well for us. And I think that, if you are interested, our servers would be a great place to practice and kind of learn how to play, because we do have accelerated resource gathering, accelerated taming. All the things are accelerated because we want to just be a casual and kind of fun environment, and not so crazy, and something that you're having to spend 6 months to get some real progress on. And also, we have pretty much every single map that you could want on there as well. So go check out our servers, Infection Podcast. If you search for that inside of the server browser, you should find us. And that is Tip of the Week.
Alrighty, thank you very much for that, Brian, and thank you for keeping all the servers up and maintaining all that stuff. I'm seeing this. There's a whole bunch of people playing on different servers right now. I'm seeing that. Cool. All right. With that, let's take a look at some current players, people that are currently playing a couple different video games that we talk about. Let's start it off with the game you were just talking about, Ark Survival Evolved. Currently playing 44,610, the 24-hour peak 60,957, with a 7-day peak of 66,398. Taking a look over at Rust and their Christmas event, currently playing 53,785, the 24-hour peak 74,400, with a 7-day 82,022. 7 Days to Die. I'm not sure where all these players came from, but there's a lot more than there was previously. 20,596 people currently playing. The 24-hour peak, 24,524. The 7-day peak, 27,671. Let's take a look at Miscreated quickly. Currently playing 887. The 24-hour peak, 1,129, with a 7-day peak of 1,319. And wrapping us off here, a couple more days left in their Christmas event, Xera Survival. Currently playing 47,000. Currently playing 47. The 24-hour peak, 59, and the 7-day peak, 63. And that's going to do it for current players. Not sure where all those 7 Days to Die players came from. That game normally hovers around 14-ish. Yeah. And it's up a lot, and it's been up a lot for a couple of weeks. So I'm not sure where all of these.
I mean, right now it's $8.49.
True.
It was rated the most played It was rated most played for 2019. So,
but why now? Like, the game has been on sale a billion times.
I don't know.
Has this last update finally been the update that holds players, unlike the other ones, which is play for a lot of players, play for a couple days, then go play something else? Is this finally the update that's
maybe
holding
they
people?
finally got it to where it's consistent enough. I mean, and they're not taking forever between updates. I think you're getting people that are more willing to, because I mean, their Alpha 17 to their Alpha 18 was much, much shorter.
Yes.
To where people weren't feeling like they were just stagnating, waiting for the next update.
Yep.
So I mean, it's got to be close to release.
One would think.
How much longer are they going to keep this in alpha?
Well, it's on the Xbox and PlayStation too.
Yeah, 7 Days to Die has got to be close to coming out of alpha. I mean, I can't imagine them pushing this out too much more.
It's alpha, bro.
So yeah, $8.49. So if you're interested in this, 66% off right now, and get yourself a copy. 7 Days to Die, an excellent game. I mean, really good survival. We always have a lot of fun when we play it. And there's people that play this game religiously. So if you're really into it, there's a lot of strategy of the base building, a lot of cool stuff you can build. So check it out. It's dirt cheap right now.
Yeah, lots of other games. We used to publish, whenever there was Steam sales, publish a list of games. It's the same games every time. If you're put these games on your wish list if you don't have them, and you will get a notification because they are always on sale. Rust, Ark, 7 Days, Miscreated, they're always on sale for these sales. So we kind of stopped doing that. All right, Brian. Thank you as always. Game of the week is going to be SCUM. We'll be playing that Friday night, which is the 3rd of January. We'll be playing that, and hopefully you'll join us for that. But in the meantime, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, if you want to find me on Twitter, @BoiseComputer, of course, my blog, biteoftech.com. Also, make sure you go check out our website, infectionpodcast.com. If you look on the right-hand side there's a place where you can join our server on Discord. If you want to come and join us and play Ark with us, that's a great place to do that. If you want to submit news that we bring up, we always look at that when we're building the show notes. Also, if you want to play any other game, or maybe something you've purchased during the holiday sales, you're more than welcome to do that and just jump on there. It's a free app. They have a mobile version, a desktop app, and they also have a web-based app. If you want to get notifications of our live show, just join our Steam group, and then you'll get a little pop-up. Today we're doing a Monday show. Normally it's Tuesdays. If you happen to be at your computer when we're doing a live show, you'll see it. You can just join us and be a participant in the podcast. Also, we have our Twitch, our YouTube, and our Mixer versions if you want to watch video or catch us live when we're doing the broadcast. All of our audio forms, they're down there below to the lower right. And then the show notes for now, 259 episodes that we've done.
Yes, sir.
So 259 episodes. If you want to see any of the articles that we referred to, videos that we played, anything that we've shown, those will be in the show notes, and those are on the website. So if you're perhaps you're still doing some purchasing, remember amazon.infectionpodcast.com, humble.infectionpodcast.com, or of course, a lot of people have done it during the show here today, giving us their Twitch Prime subs, and I really appreciate that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Brian. We'll be back on for the foreseeable future, our regular schedule of a live Tuesday show next week. Christmas time always kind of throws that off a little bit, but unlike some other podcasts, not talking about anybody specifically, but we're here. Like a lot of people just like, oh, it's Christmas,
Christmas. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, no, we're here. This is definitely not a pre-recording.
Rain, snow, hurricane, anything. We are here.
That's also USPS will also deliver in those conditions.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We will deliver a podcast. So.
Well, we'll have something. Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it. And we will we'll see you Friday night for SCUM, and then next Tuesday for another episode of Infection. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I talked about it at the beginning of the show, and it was not a joke. I do have a new blog. You can check it out. It's dudeinit.com. There's one article. That's it so far, but it's a work in progress. So hopefully you'll join me for that. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at Nicholas M. Craig. Of course, if you missed any part of the show, links, show notes, videos, pictures, the whole shebang over on our website. It's infectionpodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. See you next time.